do. I love it. I'm going to have to use the gavel. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Governing Board. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If I could ask that you all stay standing for a moment. I received an email request that the Governing Board seek a moment of silence for the teacher and student who lost their lives in San Bernardino. I know it was a few weeks ago, but I would like to honor the request. No. Let the record show that all Ms. Ordway, Ms. Tweedy, Ms. Frank, and Kim Fisher are present. Ms. O'Brien is temporarily absent. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
I move the governing board adopt the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Awards and achievements here there.
Good evening, President Fisher, members of the Governing Board, Superintendent Weitenheimer, and special guests. Tonight we recognize art awards, staff receiving state recognition, and we begin with state champions. The Mountain Ridge High School Varsity Winter Guard brought home the Guard Scholastic Open State Championship. Winter Guard is an indoor activity that combines dance, theatrics, and the three pieces of color guard equipment that people are accustomed to seeing on the football field: flags, rifles, and sabers. At the Winter Guard Arizona State Championships, 65 units took to the floor for the final competition of the season. MRHS Varsity Guard competes in the highest division for high school students, and for the first time in 6 years, came out on top. Congratulations to the 18 members of the Mountain Ridge High School Varsity Winter Guard: Sammy Bennett, Allison Britton, Chandler Clark, Jada Cox, Bradley Haffalia, Grace Hulbert, Jill Johnson, Victoria Johnson, Allie Kriz, Lauren Kudre, Eva-Lise Larson, Haley Forbes, Allie Nolan, Brinley O'Cam, Savannah Price, Sam Van Dusen, Claire Wells, Tatum Willis, and Guard Directors Carrie Ng and Courtney Sharber. Congratulations. The Abrazo Arrowhead campus recently held an art competition that featured more than 200 entries from students at 8 Valley high schools. About 1,000 hospital employees, physicians, and community members voted for their favorite art from among the entries, which were showcased at the hospital. The artwork not only adds color to the hospital walls, but also inspires the patients who love seeing the art. The hospital staff says the artwork encourages patients to move and aids in their recovery. Students won in 5 categories, including photography. This winning piece, titled Lavender Fields, was taken by Daniela Frost of Deer Valley High School. Daniela's work and the other winning pieces will be displayed at the Abrazo Arrowhead campus during the next year. Congratulations, Abrazo Art Competition winner, Deer Valley High School's Daniela Frost. We invite her parents up. In 2005, DVUSD began purchasing student artwork for the purpose of establishing a permanent art collection. For 2017, the 13th year of this recognition, 5 pieces of art were selected for the collection from the District Art Showcase that recently ran at the shops at Norterra with large crowds in attendance. It is my pleasure to introduce our District Fine Arts and PE Specialist, David Duarte, to reveal the works of art that were selected by our superintendent.
Thank you. Our superintendent, Dr. James Weitenheimer, examined more than 500 pieces of art at the recent showcase before selecting just a few for his award. The works he selected will be on permanent display here at the district office. First, from Barry Goldwater High School, the superintendent selected the work of Johanna McCombs for her self-portrait drawing. Congratulations to Johanna Combs and her art instructor, Kristen Cochran. Our next award goes to Amy McKenna from Boulder Creek High School for her photograph, Forgotten Caller. Congratulations, Amy McKenna, and her art instructor, Matt Harrington. Next, from Deer Valley High School, the superintendent selected the work of Nico Fritsch for his charcoal titled Waves. Congratulations, Nico, and his instructor, Stephanie Ducarm. From Mountain Ridge, We have Samantha Eaton's drawing, Desert Oasis. Congratulations to Samantha Eaton and her art instructor, Carl Wilfong. And from Sandra Day O'Connor High School, the superintendent selected the ceramic piece titled Flower Branch, created by Peyton Lundberg. Congratulations, Peyton Lundberg, and her instructor, Jeff Davenport. Congratulations to all of our superintendents' 2017 Art Purchase Awards.
The Arizona Community Education Association recognizes staff members each year from throughout the state who provide extraordinary care for students in before and after school and summer programs. Deer Valley has 3 extraordinary staff members who were recognized this year. Rich D. Simone serves as a before and after school assistant at Arrowhead School. Mr. Rich, as the children call him, has a natural ability to reach kids and build them up. He can be silly, he can be helpful, he challenges them intellectually, and most of all, he treats each and every one of his students with kindness. In fact, Mr. D. Simone leads his work with kindness. He treats his coworkers with respect and is always upbeat and smiling, which is essential when working with children. His supervisor will tell you that he is her rock. He is gentle with the little ones and patient and understanding with the older ones. He has dedicated his work to children over the past 17 years, and Deer Valley is very lucky to have him working with our students. Congratulations to the AZ Community Education Association Program Line Staff of the Year, Rich D. Simone. Cindy Edwards is a community education account representative and the epitome of customer care. She is extremely patient when assisting others and remains calm and collected even in stressful situations. Cindy is responsible for the full account management of approximately 900 accounts in our licensed before and after, summer camp, and preschool programs. A lead instructor says this about Cindy: "Every day she is ready to assist me and the parents in my program as quickly as possible, even though she is often up to her eyeballs in alligators. There are so many moving parts on so many levels, yet she handles everything promptly and efficiently, managing to find answers to questions that are often asked in uncharted territory." Cindy was even recently spotted in our front office with a young mother of 3, and while mom cradled the baby, Cindy lovingly held the toddler on a lap with the preschooler by her side and continued to calmly work through the registration process with mom. Congratulations to the well-deserving Arizona Community Education Association Office Staff of the Year, Cindy Edwards. Bobby Paul serves as Operations Program Supervisor for DVUSD Community Education. Bobby has a proven track record of leadership in multiple areas of community education, including our 22 before and after school care programs, 5 regional sensational summer camps, regional break camps, 15 preschool programs, and our enrichment programs. To put the numbers into perspective, that is more than 4,500 family accounts, many with multiple children. Bobby is also the driving force in the quest for continuous improvement in her division and our district. She understands the need for well-written, documented processes and how to effectively use them to improve our programs year after year. Bobby truly values our staff. If you were to ask any staff member, their question would be the same. Bobby is amazing and exemplifies what a school employee should be: loyal, kind, considerate, and most of all, puts the needs of others before herself. Congratulations, Administrator Regional Leader of the Year, Bobby Paul.
Would y'all like the opportunity to run before the boring stuff starts? All right. No, you are not invited to run, Miss Ordway. Cheese and crackers. Oh, she was talk texting. All right. All right, governing board reports. Ms. Tweedy, would you like to start tonight?
Just congratulate everyone who got their longevity pins and just receive recognition. So that's it.
Ms. Frank?
I'd also like to congratulate everyone who received their longevity pins tonight and awards tonight. And in the spirit of no news is good news, I have no other report to make.
Ms. Ordway?
Hello. One thing I wanted to mention, we have so many people that come to our board meetings and that are part of our district that just do amazing things that, you know, we sit next to them and we might not know about it. So I just wanted to mention that Mr. Charles Henry was given the Wholeheartedness Award from the Glendale Fire Department Crisis Response Unit, which is like an awesome thing because we see him here. Oh, Charles, raise your hand just for the heck of it. We see him here meeting after meeting, and he is one of our district's staunchest supporters. So I just thought I'd mention that. Yes, there you go. You're welcome. I had finally the opportunity on Friday after many years of taking our New Rivers students out on their STEM hike in the riparian area. Dr. Weitenheimer was able to accompany us, and I'm not quite sure if he's ever been on a trail like that before, but the kids had fun. They showed him a lot of things in the desert that he wasn't aware of, and they collected all the things they needed for their STEM projects. Gavilan Peak is going strong with their, with their Mandarin projects. The art show, not only the district art show, but then Norterra was kind enough to allow us to move across the street and have the Boulder Creek High School art show. I will tell you that that was coupled with a car show, and I don't know if you guys did, oh, he's gone. Anyway, I don't know if they did any kind of counts, but there are hundreds of people just for the few hours that I hung around. So I think it's nice to get our public schools out there with all of our talent. Longevity this week, next month, I believe would be the retirement. And then we're going to have promotions and graduations. So I wish everyone well that has gotten a promotion or for whatever reason has decided to leave our district. I wish everyone well who's coming back. And most of all, I'd like to finish strong and remember that our students are watching how we finish the year. So if we're done, after the merit tests are done, they're going to be done too. So let's keep that big smile on our face and our feet moving forward. And before you know it, it will be that meeting after the school year's over. So thank you for all you do.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Ordway. For my board report, it's been a very busy 2 weeks taking care of district business. Yes, sometimes we as board members have to operate within the district, and I just want to give an extra thank you to Mr. Miglorino, Dr. Galligan, Ms. Moffett, and of course Ms. Redding for all the help they've provided as we move forward through our superintendent search and really, and any needs that we have. I just really appreciate the assistance that you give, and you always do it in such a professional way. I wanted to also request if Kim could note, well, while we're on the topic of operating, it's, you know, we have that request for that study session in June and we have the policies we wanted to discuss about board responsibilities and ethics and whatnot. I would like to add to that an actual review of ARS 15341 to that meeting. The board's invited to a lot of things, and it's important that we remember what it is we're elected to do, and that is exactly what is in that statute. And when board members become operational either on campus or at the district office on a regular basis, they tend to take employees away from the tasks that are at hand, and so I just think it's really important that we get a solid picture, we have an understanding amongst all of us in what our duties are and what they're not, and when our presence is beneficial and when it becomes a distraction or so that's part of the conversation I'd like to have on that one. I wanted to also make a request. I know that we finished the employee survey. I would like to receive the raw data for the survey up on Vibe or something so that we can take a look at that. I know we always get great reports, but you know, I always have to look for the raw data. And then one more, I put this to the last just in case my blubbery crybaby self decides to cry, which I won't, but I want to give an extra special shout out to Cheryl Paul and congratulate her on becoming the next superintendent for Sackatoon. That is a very great blessing for them. She will be deeply missed. I know that she's been my rock at a lot of conferences and places, and I will miss her. That's my report. Superintendent.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. I know we're going to be celebrating this a lot over the course of the next couple of weeks, and in 2 weeks you're going to get to shake hands and be really up close and personal with this celebration. But we are proud to announce and celebrate with West Wing their A+ School of Excellence for 2017. We're very excited about that. Dr. Linda Price-Berry and her team, the feedback was exceptional. We're very, very excited about that. We will bring West Wing to you in 2 weeks so we can celebrate together, and then there will be a celebration on the campus that you are invited, and we'd love for you to come. And that concludes the superintendent's report.
We have no old business. Can we move on to consent agenda?
I move that the governing board accept the administration's recommendation to approve consent agenda items 8A through 8K.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Action.
Changes? Okay. I move that the governing board accept the administration's recommendation to approve the human resources changes.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Go ahead and do the next one.
Volunteer week.
Where is it? Okay.
I move that the governing board approve a proclamation declaring April 23rd through 29th, 2017 to be Volunteer Week in the Deer Valley Unified School District.
Second?
Okay, let me read this thing. Hopefully I can still see. Deer Valley Unified District Governing Board Proclamation. Whereas the entire community can effect a positive change with any volunteer action, no matter how big or small. And whereas volunteers can connect with the local community service opportunities through our schools. And whereas hundreds of volunteers working in our schools utilize their time and talent daily to make a real difference in the lives of children and adults. And whereas during this week, all over the nation, service projects will be performed and volunteers recognized for their commitment to service. And whereas during this month, Deer Valley School District will be recognizing volunteers for their commitment to students and staff. And whereas the giving of oneself in service of another empowers the giver and the recipient. And whereas the experience teaches us that government by itself can't solve all of the nation's social problems. And whereas our country's volunteer force of over 64 million people is a great treasure. And whereas volunteers are vital to our students' future as caring and productive citizens. Now, therefore, I, Kim K. Fisher, serving as President of Deer Valley Unified School District Governing Board, do hereby proclaim April 23rd through the 29th of 2017 annual observance of volunteer work. Is the board in agreement?
Yes, we are. Aye.
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 It is proclaimed. Next.
All right. And finally, I move that the governing board name Dr. Steve Chestnut and Dr. Curtis Finch as the finalists for the position of Deer Valley Unified School District Superintendent and authorize Jenna Moffett to so notify the finalists of the board's decision.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. We're going to move on to our preview items. We have the Deer Valley Unified School District Strategic Plan. Ms. Cheryl.
Good evening, President Fisher, members of the Governing Board, Dr. Weitenheimer, and esteemed guests. I'm Cheryl Paul, Director of Organizational Improvement and Professional Learning, and this is Mrs. Courtney Malata, Continuous Improvement Specialist. We have the honor and the privilege of sharing a preview of our strategic planning process with you this evening. As you know, our strategic plan serves as the foundation to align and integrate our work, and our current plan will carry us through 2018. We are now engaged in a 2-year strategic planning process which will inform the next 5-year plan from 2018 to 2023. The process includes examining current status, engaging stakeholders, prioritizing objectives, and implementing a strategically aligned plan throughout the district. During the first year, we have gathered stakeholder input on the motto, vision statement, mission statement, core values, and key strategic priorities. As we conclude year 1, we are excited to share the feedback from the focus group with you. What we've heard resoundingly from our stakeholders is that we should retain our motto, our vision statement, our mission statement, and our key strategic priority areas. Because in Deer Valley, we focus on students, we focus on the people, we focus on our community, and we focus on improving our organization. However, what we've also heard is that we need to revisit our core values. Stakeholders have repeatedly shared that they believe that there are too many core values and that they are not meaningful, memorable, or motivational. Throughout the past year, we have held 20 focus group sessions. We offered times in the morning, afternoon, evening, and even on the weekends to accommodate all schedules, as our goal was to offer everyone the opportunity to have a voice in this process. We extended the invitation to participate via the Deer Valley website, portal, Deer Valley Voice for our staff, DV Air for administrators, Peach Jar for our parents, Twitter, Facebook, emails to campus and department leaders, personalized letters to business partners and community members, and various face-to-face meetings, including pre-K-12 conferences, Student Voice for Excellence, and parent organization meetings. We are pleased to share that 605 stakeholders participated in the 20 focus groups, including many governing board members, and we thank you. Participants proposed 1,682 core values in total and 218 unique core values.
After collecting and analyzing all of the proposed values, these are the top 10 values identified by our focus group participants in alphabetical order. We also identified descriptors based on the definitions and language provided most frequently by our participants. On April 3rd, we shared a link to a survey, inviting all of our stakeholders to cast their vote for the 5 core values they believe should guide our district through 2023. The survey was shared via the DVUSD website, portal, DV Voice for staff, DV Air for administrators, Peach Jar for parents, Twitter, Facebook, individual emails, as well as various face-to-face meetings. We are proud to share that 1,530 stakeholders, representing each of our 7 stakeholder groups, business partners, community members, governing board members, parents, post-secondary, staff, and students, cast their vote for the top 5 core values for DVUSD. And so, without further ado, here are the top 5 core values selected by our stakeholders. Accountability, we fulfill our commitments. Excellence, we strive to be extraordinary. Integrity, we are honest and ethical. Respect, we treat each other with dignity. And student-driven, we put students first. You will notice the number of votes and the percentage of stakeholders that voted for each value on the right. Based on the input from our stakeholders, we propose to adopt these 5 core values and to retain our current motto, vision statement, mission statement, and key strategic priorities for the next strategic plan.
As always, we thank our governing board members for your ongoing support throughout this entire process, and we thank you for everything that you do for the students and staff and community of Deer Valley. Thank you.
I just have a comment. The numbers are great, and I appreciate you maybe having to knock on our doors a little bit harder than you might want to, but I think that those are 5 excellent words to describe our district by and to be. So I appreciate all the hard work, and like I said, reminding us how important it is to be able to define ourselves in 5 words or less.
Ms. Tweedy.
I just reiterate, thank you for all the hard work you've done, and I know you've had a lot of meetings, and unfortunately I couldn't make, I'm sorry, but I do think I appreciate all the hard work and effort you've put into this.
Ms. Frank.
And I would also like to say thank you. I had the pleasure of attending one of the focus groups, and I was really impressed with the way both of you led the group and the conversations that it sparked amongst the various stakeholders. And I really enjoyed attending and was very impressed with the way it was organized and presented.
Ditto on what they said, and thanks for putting up with my goofiness. So, we're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sandra Day O'Connor, Career and Technical. Dr. Gallen, is that you? Oh, is that Jim?
I was
Oh, it's a
was,
construction
was
project.
maybe hoping I could
Okay.
pass it off on Dr. Galligan, but President
It-
Fisher,
it
members of
looks-
the board, Dr. Weidenheimer, we wanted to share with you some planned improvements. In fact, Dr. Galligan and her staff have been intimately involved, maybe even more so than I have, so I might have to rely on some of her expertise.
Nice try, Jim.
But we are in the process of working on an industry standard career and technical education facility at Sandra Day O'Connor for our early childhood learning program. It's basically a remodel of 3 existing classrooms that are there. And much of the, or some of the improvements are modeled after a program that the team went and looked at Glendale Community College. So it includes some observation windows, some state-of-the-art video equipment, some removal of some walls, the addition of a restroom, to make the space more suitable for this particular program. And we are working with the firm at HDA Architects. They're the architect of record on the project. They've provided us with this sketch. So this is the current floor plan. This is within the 600 building on the Sandra Day O'Connor campus. And this is, again, how, essentially how the space is laid out currently. The improvements here, you can kind of see that the space or the classroom that's on the far right as I'm looking at this is where much of the improvements are being made, including a restroom in that lower left-hand corner, which with all the clutter there, it's hard to see, but that is a restroom in the lower left-hand corner. The budget and timeline for this particular project, we are considering a cooperative job order contract, or what we refer to as JOC contract, with Core Construction. We've done several projects with Core Construction. They recently completed the Esperanza modernization project, but they've also done the sports medicine project at Sandra Day O'Connor, so they're familiar with the campus. We are projecting about $279,000 for the budget for this particular project to be funded from the proceeds from WestMAC, our Joint Technical Education District, or JTED, as we like to call them. And we're previewing it with the board this evening, bringing it back for formal consideration at the next meeting, May 9th. We will order the long lead items that same week, start immediately after school is out, and have a tentative schedule to have this completed for the start of next school year. And I'd be happy to answer any questions regarding this particular project.
I was just curious, how much SMEC funds do we have, and how is it currently being spent? What's the balance? Is it reflected in that budget with the deficit we're looking at?
President Fisher, Ms. Tweedy, no, it's not included. These funds are not M&O funds. The WestMEC funds are separate from our maintenance and operation dollars, and they have to be used to enhance the career and technical education programs on our campuses. So they're designated. They are required to be designated for that purpose. As for the balance, I'd have to look that up. In fact, I'll provide that to the board.
Okay, so so the WestMEC funds goes into a separate account, and then you just use it for these purposes only?
Correct, just for CTE improvements. They have to be enhancements to the program. They can't be supplanting the costs that we would have otherwise been obligated to.
Thank you.
Ms. Frank?
So enhancements to the program, is that specifically enhancements to the facilities, or would that include curriculum? when you say enhancements to the program, what does that include?
President Fisher, Ms. Frank, that would be any expense that would enhance the offering. So that would include physical improvements as well as any additional staff that would be required to enhance the program. Those would all be allowable expenses.
Okay, would curriculum also be an allowable expense under those funds, or is that
It's
not
difficult to answer
considered
that
an
question
enhancement?
because if curriculum could be purchased if it was an enhancement to a program that we didn't already have, but we
Okay.
could not use it to buy curriculum items for an existing program
Okay.
that we had prior.
Okay, thank you.
We might need an update on supplanting, just to, because I think it would be supplanting if we used it, but, for curriculum. But, any other questions, Ms. Ordway? Wonderful presentation. Thank you, Jim. We look forward, hopefully, to seeing little potties for little tiny people. Second phase of our school front entrance security improvements. Mr. Migarino.
Again, President Fisher, members of the board, Dr. Weidenheimer, we're pleased to announce that we are continuing to work on front office security. The first phase was school front office security. Specifically, we've taken the school off of this because this now does include the district office as well as we continue to expand the safety aspects of our campuses. We're calling this phase 2. You could call it a number of things. It is likely phase 2 of many phases. I'm sometimes asked about how many phases we will have in our security, and my stock answer is as many as it takes, I guess. So we don't necessarily have a target in sight, but we do have some budgeted funds allocated for this particular expense. So just a little bit of background. In 2013, part of that bond authorization, there was $14 million worth of safety initiatives. Not all of those are front office safety. Some of those are playground safety. They include fire alarm panels, communication systems, things of that nature. But a good portion of it, or a portion of it, I shouldn't say, it's not a good portion, not a majority, includes the front office security at specifically schools, but to include all of the front office areas in the district. Phase 1 was completed during the summer of 2016. It kind of didn't conclude right at the start of school. We had the majority of that work done, where we tried to create, we did create a separation between the public lobby of our schools and a secure area of the campus. So that would be separated by what we refer to as a buzz door, electronically controlled door that people can be allowed in and out of. We used some ballistic resistant materials on those improvements, including a film that goes on some of the glass to make sure that access could not be gained. And as a additional part of that, the camera systems have continued throughout this entire school year, but we have now installed camera systems at all campuses. Previous to this, we only had camera systems at our high schools and middle schools. The phase 2 overview is to increase the height of the counters to a target of 42 inches in order to minimize access so that people can't just jump over the counter, or it can't easily jump over the counter. Provide some ballistic resistant materials on the windows, the front of the counter, and around desk areas, so that can create some safe harbor for our staff in the event of an active shooter. And then create an emergency lock on the main entrance to the campus, along with some ballistic film and some obstructions from the ability to see into the front offices from the exterior with some window film, things of that nature, so that we can see somebody coming, but they necessarily can't see what we're doing inside our front offices. And in addition to just the window film, we'll have a dedicated monitor in the front offices so that a camera will be looking for something that would look suspect. The idea behind this is that if something did look suspect and could easily be seen either through the windows or on the monitor, captured on the monitor, the staff would be able to lock the front door so that the perpetrator wouldn't even be able to get into the lobby area. We would continue to maintain the buzz door so that there'd still be an access point not only at the front door but also from the public lobby to the secure campus as well. All of these recommendations were a result of some feedback we received from the Homeland Security liaison that we worked with to develop the scope of this work. We're using the same architect of record, ADM Group. They did phase 1, so it was logical for us to consider them for phase 2 as well. I'm not going to read these sites to you, but there are 8 what we are considering major improvements where a reconfiguration of the office is necessary to be able to accommodate these improvements. There are 27 sites that are less involved in their improvements, but still improvements will be made. And they are listed here. And then finally, sites that weren't specifically noted there are Desert Sky Middle School, because that scope is included in the modernization efforts that's ongoing this summer. And then Bel Air Arrowhead will have the buzz door included because they are scheduled for future modernization improvements, as is Hillcrest Middle School. Hillcrest Middle School already has the buzz door on their campus. So we are considering another 1 GPA cooperative job order contract for this particular project with Skyline Builders and Restoration. They did a portion of phase 1. They were a subcontractor to a general contractor. We're trying to minimize some of the costs of them being a subcontractor. We're going directly to them. And we have estimated $800,000. I will tell you that we feel that budget might be difficult to reach based on the improvements that we're talking about. But we are bringing it for the board for your for a preview this evening, again with consideration on the May 9th agenda to start immediately after school is out, and hopefully have this work completed. And if you go back to the list of campuses, it's a lot of projects at a lot of schools. So it's going to be a challenge for us, not only to, I believe, get to that budget number, but also to get this work completed. So we need to get started as quickly as possible. And I'd be happy to answer any question regarding the security improvements.
Ms. Ordway.
Is there a, and if there's not, I understand that, but is there a an order of priority, or are these all simultaneously up there?
President Fisher, Ms. Ordway, yes, they're all going to be simultaneously. I think the only thing that we might look at is just geographic proximity to maybe cluster the work, just because some of this work is small in nature. So as you're waiting for drywall mud to dry at one campus, you can go to a nearby campus and work, come back, and that. So there will be some coordination due to geography.
And then how many companies do we have, or are we looking at to do this?
Presently, we were looking at one company, Skyline Builders and Restoration. It's a single company to do all this work.
Thank you.
Ms. Frank.
So you've estimated $800,000 for the budget, but have said that it would be difficult to reach that number. So can I assume that there's a very good possibility we'll go over budget?
President Fisher and Ms. Frank, yes, the first draft of what we call the GMP, the guaranteed maximum price, was in excess of $1 million. So we are working on making sure the scope matches the actual work with the architect and our director of facilities, Mr. Long. And I think we'll get that number down from the just over $1 million. But we are seeing price escalation in all of our construction endeavors at this point in time.
Okay. So are we okay in terms of what we have with the bond proceeds if we do go over budget?
Yes, we believe that we will have to maybe reprioritize some of the other safety-related projects within the budget, but we do build in contingencies in the amounts that were part of what was approved initially. So, so this would be one of those priorities that we would recommend to fund, even if it does come in above the 800,000. I should recognize that the furniture improvements, the ballistic resistant material that we were speaking of on the furniture, we're considering doing that with some of our own staff to be able to help save in some of the costs as well. So our staff will be involved to be able to make some of these improvements.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. NST, salary recommendations. Mr. Magarino.
President Fisher, members of the board, Dr. Weidenheimer, this is a very draft recommendation. The negotiated solutions team met this afternoon, and as I mentioned last time when we were looking at some of the budget, this was pulled together just hours ago. So this has not been approved by that group. This has been discussed, and a framework has been developed, and we are going to work over the next 2 weeks to see if we can bring this back to the board for formal consideration, so that we can reissue contracts with any salary increases that are known at that point in time. So I just want to reiterate, I think the word draft is on every page of this, and I probably should have put a watermark underneath that as well. This is very drafty. We are following the same format that we have used in previous years about what the recommendation would look like. And so a lot of this is converting, some of the formula stuff that we would need to have to be able to effectively create some of the salary increases into a narrative. So this is a little bit wordy, but bear with us. So the first thing is to recognize all the professional growth that has been earned, and that's just over $75,000. The second item there is that the teachers would enjoy an increase in the due to the Classroom Site Fund. Two components of the Classroom Site Fund for next year. One is the ongoing revenue that's sustainable. That's going to generate a $140 increase to our teachers and those that are eligible for the Classroom Site Fund, so essentially all the teachers. There's a second component for next year in which there's some one-time revenue that the State Land Department has included in their allocation, and we're suggesting that so that money does not get added into their salary, that we convert that into a one-time payment to teachers that would be paid out to all teachers on the same pay period as the performance pay. So that's typically at the end of the year, not subject to them qualifying for performance pay or not, but just to take advantage of that pay period when all teachers are on there, or virtually all teachers are on that pay period anyhow. So that would be a one-time amount. That way we wouldn't have to face a potential reduction when the allocation comes out a year from now that will likely not have the one-time amount. The one-time amount is based on some state land sales that have not materialized, and so those monies get put back into the state land trust, in the school state land trust, and those monies are not guaranteed year over year. The second component, or the second page of the recommendation includes that a certified 1% salary increase would be given to our certified teachers. This is a change from the approved language that we have. So in the approved language, it says that 60% of the raise would go as a percentage increase, 40% would be a flat increase. That can change. It's also in language that that can be overwritten any year, and so the certified group is considering a 1% salary increase in a straight 1% increase without a flat increase for next year. The classified group is a little more involved. It's a 1% salary increase, but there are three groups within the classified ranks. A group that's going to be currently at $10.40 per hour or less. they're going to get a Prop 206 automatic increase to $10.50. The reason for 1040, if you add 1% to 1040, you get to $10.52. So just to make sure that we don't exclude somebody from a raise. So everybody between 1040 and $10 would not participate in the 1% salary increase. They would receive their raise on January 1st when the Prop 206 mandates that we go to $10.50 per hour. Those between $10.40 and $12 would receive a 1% raise, which would be split between 50% of it as a flat increase, or 7 cents per hour, and the other 50% of the 1% or half a percent would be in a percentage raise. Those above $12, to deal with compression, we're going to take the savings from the folks that we didn't give a salary increase to that made less than $10.40, and we're going to add it to the 1% increase for over $12 so that we can push them a little further away. This is I will admit, a small token to try and deal with the salary compression, but it's at least a step in that direction. So it ends up being 1.1% for that group. 9 cents on the flat, again at 50-50, 50% flat, 50% as a percentage, so 9 cents per hour plus a half a percent of their salary. So that represents the classified increase. Administrative is a little more straightforward, remaining at 50-50 as it was crafted today. 50% is a flat increase of $360, and then the remaining 50% of that 1% or half a percent being a percentage increase for our administrative and exempt group. In addition to that, we wanted to focus, one of the interests was to address the starting teacher pay. So we have come up with a plan to raise our starting teacher pay to $36,000 per year, currently at $35,100. We have some comparable data that shows that at $36,000, we feel we will be more competitive in attracting new teachers to our district. But in order to deal with the compression that causes, we would ensure that no second-year teacher was making less than $36,200, and no third-year teacher was making less than $36,450. So a $200 difference between a first-year teacher and a second-year teacher, and then an additional $250 between a second-year teacher and a third-year teacher. We would use the Classroom Site Fund menu monies to be able to make up that difference, and that cost is about $135,000 roughly. One of the other interests was to, in fairness to the hard-to-fill addendas from a year ago, is to make sure that we don't create a disincentive for the middle school math and science teachers who are also certified to teach at the high school, provide them with a $2,000 hard-to-fill addenda for 7th and 8th grade math and science per FTE. And then we have a catch-all category here that any legislative changes that would provide additional funding will be applied for their intended use. This is intended to be, we believe that the legislature will approve a salary increase dedicated to teachers. We don't know exactly what that amount will be, but this is intended to capture that. And if, for some reason, the legislature decided to surprise us with additional revenue, we usually create a minimum amount, and in this case, we're using $300,000 just to make sure that it has some meaning to it. We would reconvene the negotiated solutions team to be able to decide how that money would be allocated. So this is kind of the draft of this document. The various groups, later tonight I'll be able to send this to them. They don't even have it yet because we were just discussing it, like I said, hours ago. We'll get it to the various employee groups. We expect that they will be sharing it out with their constituencies and then bringing feedback back to us, where we would hope to bring this before you on the May 9th board meeting for your formal consideration, so that we can reissue contracts based on whatever is ultimately approved.
Are you going to take, are there any public comments you're going to take, or are we going to ask questions first? I might have a question.
Okay.
Jim, would you go back to the classified, please? And I think it was the second part, no, the first part where it said that if you were receiving the raise due to the minimum wage going up, that would commence in January. Is that what you said?
That is correct.
Okay. But if you're not part of that and you're part of part 2 and 3, then you would get your raise in June or July?
July 1st, correct.
And why is there that?
Because President Fisher, Ms. Ordway, the difference is that increase for some of our employees is going to be a 5% increase, much more than the 1% we're able to offer to the, so from 10 to 1050 is a 5% increase.
Okay.
So they'll get 5% for half the year, as opposed to the 1% that, or 1.1% that some of the employees will get for the entire year.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Tweedy?
Okay, I'm assuming we're at 1% because we're thinking that's all we can afford. I'm, first of all, curious, do we have any plans to reclassify employees? If we do, how much money would be set aside, or what would that cost? Any employees?
President Fisher, Ms. Tweedy, we do have a couple that are scheduled reclassifications in that they are part of our apprenticeship program. So based on a prescribed amount of time and that they meet certain qualifications, that those people would get reclassified. It's a small group. We'd be happy to provide that information to the board.
I would request a list of anybody that's being considered for reclassification for any reason this year, how much it's costing, and where it is in the budget, where it's reflected in the budget. And then I also would wonder if we could look at other ways to reduce our budget to see if we can come up with more than 1%. One area I would like to look at is if we could reduce travel, conferences. I'd like a breakdown of the Title II budget, how we're spending it, and what the balance is of that. Thanks.
Just to that, with any reclassifications, I would like I'm not sure if we ever received the supporting document where it was actually these apprentice programs are actually documented.
They are.
Okay, so if we could get that when you provide the other. Ms. Frank?
And to that point, I agree that any reclassifications, in my opinion, should be included in the budget proposal, not as a separate agenda item, so that we're looking at it holistically. Because when you reclassify employees, I assume they go up on the pay scale, or they receive an increase in pay as a result of reclassification.
President Fisher,
that correct?
Ms. Frank, yes, it varies based on the different programs. We have about 3 or 4 programs that have automatic or built-in, prescribed, if you would, increases in them. We can provide that information to you.
Thank you.
Ryan?
Mr. Miglerino, when the employee groups, if they are able to get feedback from their constituents prior to next Friday's update, I would love it if we could incorporate any feedback that they might have at that time. If they don't, they don't. But if they've received feedback from their constituents on this recommendation, not this coming Friday, but the following Friday, if that's possible. Thank you.
I'll certainly include that in when I send out the information later this evening.
Okay, thank you so much.
Ms. Frank?
So just to clarify, when this is brought back to us on May 9th, it will be as an action item, not as a preview.
President Fisher, Ms. Frank, that's correct. Our intentions are to have this approved at the May 9th meeting, so for formal consideration, and that way that'll allow us. That is the last board meeting that we have during this school year to be able to announce to our staff what they have in terms of reasonable expectation for their salary for next year.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood that correctly. And I also would hope that we could look at additional sources to give a greater than a 1% raise to our employees, if that's possible.
Any other? Okay.
I'll just look forward to the information that we're going to get.
Thank you, Jim. Public comments. We do have 3. If you can come up to the podium. Colleen Salk, Christy Cooper, and Maria Leyva.
The board invites public comment on the district's business in general and on any agenda item in specific. All speakers must observe the rules of decorum. Speakers must fill out a card listing name, address, and topic, and hand it to the board secretary prior to the president calling the meeting to order. Speakers must make their comments in no more than 3 minutes. If necessary to accommodate all speakers within the 30-minute overall limit, the board president may shorten each speaker's time. Constructive criticism is in order. Rudeness, vulgarity, disruptive conduct, or remarks disrespecting personal dignity are not in order and will not be allowed. Under the Arizona Open Meeting Law, the governing board cannot discuss or act on any items not listed on the agenda. Board members may respond to criticism made by a speaker, ask staff to review a matter, or ask that a matter be put on a future agenda.
Go and state your name for the record.
Hi, my name is Colleen Salk, President Fisher and members of the board and Dr. Reitheimer. I'm a parent of a 4th grader and 2 2nd graders at Highland Lakes Elementary, or Highland Lakes School, it's K through 8. But I'm just here to request that maybe in a future meeting that you adopt or you approve join the other school boards. I know that there's, I don't know, I have a list of like 14 or 15 here that have already adopted the Arizona School Boards Association ESA opposition resolution. So I have copies here. I don't know if I can give them to you all. But there have been the school boards that have already adopted this are Sunnyside Unified, Phoenix Elementary School District, Ganado Unified, Safford Unified, Queen Creek Unified, Sierra Vista Unified, Osborne School District, Amphitheater School, Public Schools, Welton Elementary School District, Pendergrast Elementary School District, Kingman, Tempe Unified, Paradise Valley Unified, Show Low, and Glendale Union High Schools. So I personally would urge you to consider this and also adopt it for Deer Valley.
Thank you for your comment. We can't respond
Okay.
to her.
I was going to make a request for an
Oh,
agenda.
yeah, you can request.
Okay. I would like to request that this item be put on a future agenda for discussion and consideration.
We could put it on for a discussion as to if we want to. I would support that. Not going straight to a resolution, though. Okay. Ms.
My name
Cooper.
is Christy Cooper, and I've been a stakeholder in Deer Valley probably longer than anyone in this room. My father was hired to teach in this district in 1967, when at that time it was called Sierra Vista, and it consisted of only 2 schools, Village Meadows and New River. My father started his teaching career in Washington School District, but was told by his colleagues that Sierra Vista, which is now known as Deer Valley, was the top paying district. Back then, this district chose to invest in their educators, ensuring they got the best. That superintendent knew that if teachers were well compensated, they would be more willing to go above and beyond for their students. When a district pays their employees more, they are more willing to come to work for them, which allows them the opportunity to choose the very best educators for their students. My father dedicated over 34 years of his life to Deer Valley, 30 of those as a school administrator. My mother dedicated 21 years teaching in Deer Valley, starting in 1979. My family moved into the district when I was only 7 years old. I attended Deer Valley schools until I graduated from Deer Valley High School. I have taught in this district for 23 years, which is more than half of my life. Both of my sisters also work in Deer Valley, and all of our children have attended only Deer Valley schools. I have always thought of Deer Valley as my home. I have spent more hours of my life at my school than anywhere else over the past 23 years, often putting the needs of my students before my own family. I never thought I could ever leave Deer Valley, but this is where the people I care about are. It saddens me to know that unless our district makes some drastic changes in its priority, I will be forced to look elsewhere. With my current salary, I will receive $10,000 a year less for retirement than my mother receives, who had retired from Deer Valley 17 years ago. Our salary increases have not even kept up with inflation, so every year we teach, we make less money. With the 1% salary increase our district is proposing and the increase of health care, most of us will get a 0.5% increase or less. I see the only way I can increase my salary is to go to another district or leave teaching altogether. I don't want to go, but like most teachers in this district, we don't see any changes happening. It is always the same excuses why our district can't pay its employees a competitive salary. If serious changes are not made to help our teacher retention, then next year I will be looking elsewhere. And I will be looking forward to coming back to Deer Valley as a board member and at the next election so that I can help my former Deer Valley colleagues make positive changes for our employees and its students. Thank you.
Eva?
President Fisher, Governing Board, Superintendent. My name is Maria Leyva, and I'm president of the Deer Valley Education Association. Pardon my voice. A 1% salary increase. We can do better. If more emphasis on newer employee salaries is put, then we are sending a message to our veteran educators that they don't rate as high. Our strategic plan even says that we have to attract and retain quality educators. Over the past few years, we would hire over 200 educators when we built a new school. Now, we're declining in enrollment, and we're still hiring 200 educators every year, approximately. Along with the longevity reception that happened today, we should also reward educators financially. Other districts have longevity pay. And it's just something to consider. Many of our master teachers, also known as veteran teachers, and educators, all certified, performed other duties as assigned when they assist new hires with the multiple systems, electronic and paper, that Deer Valley and their schools have. Group-wise, ASOP, iVisions, My Learning Plan, Canvas, School City, curriculum questions, lesson planning, sub-planning, student learning objectives, reserving the computer lab for your class, many of the things that our newer employees don't know what to do. They turn to our veteran teachers on campus or our veteran employees. They turn to them for advice, and they do this on an individual basis. So no longer are veteran teachers having to learn the new systems. They're also having to educate every new teacher that comes through their door. And we have schools that have attrition rates varying between 15 and 20%. Why did I personally come to Deer Valley in 2000? The salary schedule, quite frankly, because I was able to look at it and say, oh my gosh, potentially in 10 years, I could be here. And that was very attractive to me when I was looking for a new district after only being a 6-year teacher. When there was a salary schedule, the first priority was how do we fund the salary schedule? That was their number one priority back in that time. Now employee salaries have been in a struggle to even find 1%. You could be the governing board that could set as a priority a new minimum salary increase per year. On the old salary schedule that was here that attracted me, it would take 2.4% to move over and down. It's just a thought. Finally, thank you to the board members who are asking for more than a 1% salary increase, and thank you for daring to say something in a public meeting regarding employee salaries. Thank you.
Okay, future meetings are posted. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Can I get a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now I'd like to call to order a special meeting of the governing board. Huh?
Bathroom break.
Yes, we're going to do a bathroom break.
Thank
apparently.
you.